Away from crime. It's caught the attention of the media.
55% drug dealers. We had over 1,000 people, young men, came forward to renounce that life.
How would you define this fact?
We may be ahead of our time, but it's revolutionary. It's doing church in a completely different way.
Not all worshippers are from gangs. Many join because the church promises to help them succeed financially, even setting them up.
Hi, how you all doing?
It's easy to see why SPAC Nation is so attractive for young people. But on social media, serious concerns have been surfacing about the church's fundraising activities.
Welcome. Good evening.
This Instagram post, which went
Thanks for joining.
That's supposed to be helping young people, encouraging young people to go and open business accounts of businesses they don't have so that they can share the money.
I went to meet the man asking questions about the church. Vic Santoro is an ex-offender himself. Now he's a musician and actor. Vic told me his 20-year-old brother joined SPAC Nation earlier this year. As a budding football coach, his pastor offered him a tempting proposition.
My mom called me.
Yeah.
I was like, your brother started up a business.
Really?
And she was really excited about it. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of him. He told me, no, these people in the church approached me and said X, Y, Z, they can help me start a coaching thing.
The pastor registered a company in Vic's brother's name and opened a business account for him with HSBC.
When I was asking about the application process, he said, no, I never filled an application. I just gave them my details and they did it. So straight away, I'm just thinking,
can you guys hear clearly?
Responsibility to be doing that.
The business account had an overdraft facility. How much was that?
£2,000 overdraft.
£2,000.
Yeah.
What happens to that money?
So they basically take him to the bank. He withdraws £1,400, give it to them because they said it was part of consultation fee / helping him set this business up.
But there was no business and no money in the account. In the end, Vic's brother was left £2,000 in debt to the bank. Why do you think he fell for this?
There's an element of him not doing, research or be diligent enough. However, in ethnic minority communities, a lot of families, faith in general, it's like a beacon of hope for most families. In his head, there's no reason why they would be trying to trick him into anything or trying to do, anything that can get him in potential trouble. So he would obviously take their word for it. Why would you use God's name to trick me?
Those of you called to make money is a call. Don't give up on it. Don't let the world teach you false humility.
SPAC Nation encourages worshippers to donate money to the church. It says the more they give, the more wealth and success they get back. They call it sowing seed. Tobi Adegboyega even suggests how much seed members should donate every month.
A basic person in a month should give £1,000. I think that's normal. I think it's no big deal. It's not even that deep.
Wow.
£1,000 now spoken
a person per month.
People who say they felt under intense pressure to give.
I know people personally that have given £1,000 a week. You don't ever question how you get the money. You just get the money and give.
We never openly admitted to each other about the struggles that we had in terms of giving. All we knew is that there was a vision that Pastor Tobi has set for each member to also have in their minds and in their hearts about the church, and then we were all supposed to contribute regardless.
When you are the biggest giver, it's noted. You will be endorsed, you will be called on stage, you will be shown love, and you'll be treated differently.
Wow.
God has been good to you. Hallelujah.
The man everyone wants to please, Tobi Adegboyega.
He's a charming guy and very intelligent with his wordplay, with the way he preaches. Through that psychological mind play, you want to do what Pastor Tobi asks you to do. And in SPAC Nation, you don't ever disobey your leaders.
The church says it has 5 community units in London. They're run by Tobi Adegboyega's most senior pastors. Called the Generals, they lead his recruitment and fundraising.
The generals are the people that are very close to Pastor Tobi, the people that you bow down to and say, hello, sir, hello, ma. So the first in line would be Pastor Sam.
Well, it's not about the politicians, it's about the system.
Samuel Akokia, or Pastor Sam as he's known, has a conviction for attempted robbery. He credits Tobi Adegboyega with turning his life around.
So without further ado, what I want to do now is I want to bring to the stage our father, our mentor, Pastor Tobi Adegboyega.
Akokia uses social media to spread the word about the fundraising targets of his leader, PT.
2-3 days ago, God began to remind me about the testimony of PT regarding giving. And he began to show me that it is not too small for individuals to give 1K a week.
Akokia runs what SPAC Nation calls a trap house. Trap stands for take risks and prosper. The church says it encourages pastors to open their homes to members with housing problems. But for some, it was the start of a journey into debt as the church began to look for new ways to get money.
I was already quite detached from my family, even going through, I guess, my depression and mental health battles. So I was living by myself at the time.
Nino works in advertising. He says it wasn't long before Akokia asked him for money, telling him it was to fund more trap houses for single mums.
He said quite bluntly, oh, I just need £20,000 from you. If you don't want to give me £20,000 out of your own pocket, we can set up a loan scheme for you of £20,000.
Nino says Akokia told him the £20,000 loan would buy him a stake in a property investment company. When Nino said he'd need to see proof of any shareholding, Akokia got angry.
He said, well, are you saying that you don't trust the man of God? And at that point, I became very uncomfortable because I had believed in this man. I had believed in, the preaching that he gives, the words.
Nino refused to take out a loan. Akokia told us he's never approached a church member for a £20,000 investment. Lovis is 19 and was being treated for kidney cancer when she moved into Akokia's trap house last February.
In trap houses, you don't have your freedom. SPAC Nation is in front of you 24/7, in your ears 24/7, so you don't know anything else. What you're seeing is PT's vision. That's what he wants you to see.
In March, she discovered that a 4-year loan with the company Amigo had been taken out in her name. She confronted another senior pastor about it.
I basically asked, what's happening? Why do I have a loan in my name? And they basically said the loan was for the greater good and they were going to use the money to buy a bigger trap house to accommodate more people. And I was thinking, okay, that's all well and good, but why did I not know about it?
Lovis doesn't know how it happened, but we think we do. She'd previously given her personal and banking details to a recruitment agency when she applied for a job. We now know the agency was run by Akokia. How much are we talking?
Okay, so the loan was actually a loan of £5,000, and with repayment, it will go up to £10,000.
Jesus.
£10,000.
Yes.
And she was
the
not that
loan
way.
may have been in Lovis's name, but she didn't get any of it. We've seen evidence the money was transferred to ER Management Group Limited, a company run by Akokia's brother, Emmanuel, another pastor in the church. We don't know what happened to the money next.
I felt angry at first, really angry. When I went to confront them, they said it was going to get paid. I didn't need to do anything. So I was reassured because I didn't spend a dime of that loan.
Lovis says she was told the Amigo debt would be cleared using funds from a business account, but wasn't told that she'd end up being responsible for that too, leaving her in even more debt.
I've got quite a few documents actually.
One document reveals that in February, a company had been set up in her name. It had been registered as a company?
Yeah, so Lovers Relations Limited is the company they registered for me. So basically, you have a company that you know nothing of. You don't even know what the company is based on.
And I mean, these are official documents. This is real.
Yes.
That company was used to open a business account with HSBC. It had a £3,000 overdraft facility. Just over £2,000 was paid to a company owned by another member of SPAC Nation, a company that has now been dissolved. £600 was taken out in cash. Lovis says she knew nothing about any of it. She's been left with more than £15,000 of debt. And did you confront Pastor Sam?
I spoke to him, asking him if he was actually going to pay for the loans and actually going to do something. And most of the times he would say to me, yes, we're going to sort it out. However, there's a lot of people that basically in the same situation, so we need to be patient. And I just felt like he was constantly lying to me.
What has happened here is Lovis has given her identity information, probably under false premises. That information has been abused in the sense it's been used without her permission to obtain loans. She's then been lied to, had false representations given to her about what the loan was for. All of that is dishonesty. All of that is fraud.
Kokia says he's personally unaware of any incidents where an individual's details were stolen and used to take out a loan or a business bank account. He says the safety of individuals in his home is a priority. This is another of Tobi Adegboyega's generals. Her name is Mariam Mola. She has a string of fraud convictions, yet still ran a trap house for young women.
I said to my girls this morning, I don't know what you think is happening in this house. I tell you what to do with your finances. I tell you where you're going. It's not like you have
Tell them what to do with their finances.
As you're leaving the house. Yes, sir. As you're leaving the house, drop your key in the letterbox. I need an order. A house of order is a house that will prosper.
We've seen one of her WhatsApp messages in which she suggests Tobi Adegboyega knows about the use of loans. The message starts, "Good evening, leaders," and goes on to say, "PT not against loans." We've also seen a WhatsApp leaders chat from inside the church in which Tobi Adegboyega himself says, "You guys have been good in raising loans." The church told us that loans do not fund the church. However, loans may be used to fund businesses and endeavors. Sema, a 24-year-old teaching assistant, says he was persuaded by a pastor to take out a £2,000 loan.
The peer pressure is real, and the pressure from these so-called leaders, those who are above you, is definitely intense.
Sema says he was told the money was for a business investment and it would all be paid back. It wasn't. He left the church in December last year, but that wasn't the end of it. The pastors still had his bank details. A month later, he received a letter from Amigo confirming he'd been accepted for a £5,000 loan.
Straight away, the day after, I saw that. That's when obviously I contacted Amigo Loans. I was furious. I was legit furious.
The money had already been paid out to a guarantor named on the bogus application. Amigo began a fraud investigation.
So here I have the letter that's been written to my address from Amigo Loans, basically telling me of the outcome of the internal investigation.
And what did they say in the letter?
They had acknowledged that it was not me, that somebody has actually been impersonating me and pretended to be it.
Because it wasn't you.
Because it wasn't me in the first place. And I've showed them proof as well, it wasn't me.
Amigo concluded Sema had been the victim of fraud and wrote off his £5,000 debt. He had a lucky escape, but blamed SPAC Nation.
Yeah, I haven't shared my details with anyone outside of my family for years, and it was only SPAC who I shared it with.
How's that left you feeling?
It made me feel confused, like upset, and violated to find out that somebody wants to go a step further and go behind my back and impersonate me.
Okay, my lord.
I'm really shocked to hear this type of activity, because you've got people in trust who are effectively financially grooming young people. They're being completely manipulated for the worth they've got, which isn't very much financially, but it's their credit rating. And they're being groomed for gaining funds for someone else's purpose. And it's wrong at every level.
Like many churches, SPAC Nation is registered as a charity. Until recently, Tobi Adegboyega lived in this rented £2.6 million house in Croydon. Here he is at one of the church's regular meetings.
Let's just go for it.
Elite report, the total funds raised year to date, 53k.
Tobi Adegboyega and members of the church are totting up how much they've raised in the first 5 months of 2018.
Across all the Connect family, the total that has been managed to be raised since from January to May is 216,244.
This total this year, including crossover, is 761,440.
More than £750,000, but that's not enough for Tobi Adegboyega.
But I tell you, June ending, we've got to reach 1 million.
Wow.
The church told us there is an expenditure for the year that it needs to meet in order to keep doing the work it does in the community. As a charity, SPAC Nation files accounts with the Charity Commission. They show that by the end of 2018, its annual fundraising had increased 7-fold, from £164,000 in 2016 to nearly £1.2 million. Curtis was a member of SPAC Nation for 4 years. He joined in 2015 and became part of Tobi Adegboyega's inner circle.
When you're there, you really don't question it. You don't see the flaws in him. And if you do see the flaws, you're made to ignore it because of the word that he delivers.
Curtis left at the beginning of this year. He'd seen the pressure on young worshippers to give and had become disillusioned with the church. How much money is passing hands from young people to Pastor Tobi?
It can vary. There's some sums that he'll ridicule to make you feel like, yeah, you're small, you can't really help me. Like, if you come to him with like 2K, 3K, he'll ridicule you.
Curtis says he witnessed large sums of cash being handed over by pastors at monthly meetings. So set the scene for me. What's it look like?
You walk into a room, you see 14 to 15 people with bags of money, and they're just some cash machines running. It's just, yeah, they're just.
So what happens with the money? Where does it go?
From there, I don't know exactly where it goes, but it goes quickly.
Fundraising targets were rising.
What amount does this work need monthly? And I put it that we need £1 million monthly. 1 million.
It just went crazy. Everyone is running around.
Why was it so crazy?
Because everyone wanted to hit the target, and you already know what the people go through to try and hit the target. So if you really think they're going to come up with £1 million, it makes no sense.
The church told us it would be unreasonable and far from practical to meet the £1 million a month target for young people. It says it has a large number of professional and business people in its congregation who are its primary and most generous donors. According to the church's latest charity account, Just under £59,000 funded 5 full-time staff. But the accounts don't explain how the lavish lifestyle of Tobi Adegboyega is being paid for.
They must be getting their income from other means. Now, unless they can explain what those other means, we're left having to draw an inference that they're gaining the money from other sources which may not be legitimate.
Tobi Adegboyega ignored Panorama's request for an interview, but SPAC Nation told us he takes no salary from the church, but does receive gifts and support from business friends and family. Although he occupies a house, it's not for his personal use, but for church use. Gracie was 21 when she joined SPAC in 2017. She says she was duped into taking part in another fundraising scam, this time involving benefit fraud. Gracie had lost her job and could no longer afford to give. She says
somebody
her
who
pastor,
don't have a
Ebo
job.
Duggan, had an idea.
I told him I wasn't working, so we were talking about seed. And obviously he was like to me, oh, Gracie, like you haven't been sewing and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, but you know, like I haven't been working. He's like, yeah, like you're not working, you should get universal credit to obviously support you, and obviously you can give seed. I'm just like, oh yeah, I never really thought about that. Makes sense.
Ebo Duggan said he'd take care of the online form. All she had to do was go to the job centre and show her ID. She then received instructions via WhatsApp messages.
Someone else in the congregation now has messaged me, said, oh, Gracie, when you're going to your universal credit appointment, send me the code. So I'm just like, what code? And she was like, oh, when you get there, you will know. They're going to give you this code. Take a picture of it and send it to me.
We've seen the messages in Gracie's online application. She handed over the code as instructed. Within 10 minutes of leaving the job centre, details had been changed. She now had 2 children, making her eligible for a large advance payment.
And then obviously my meeting was done. Next thing I know, there's like money in my account.
The Department for Work and Pensions paid her £1,200 the same day. The 2 people who'd been messaging Gracie while she was in the job centre then told her to hand over most of the money to them.
I gave £550 to the guy, then I sent £350 to the girl, and then I kept the rest. Even sometimes when we know things are wrong, in that moment, I'm just thinking, oh, okay, like obviously my father figure would not let something like bad, like he wouldn't tell me to do something bad, basically. So.
Gracie's since been investigated by the DWP. She's been fined £600 in order to repay the £1,200.
I can't afford it, obviously, but I'm doing like the best I can. Obviously, I'm just paying it bit by bit. My parents, obviously, they're not like rich or anything, but they've obviously said like, listen, you've made a mistake. We're going to help you out. And sorry.
Oh, you're right,
sorry.
That,
Can I just take a minute? I feel like heartbroken because I'm thinking this is supposed to be like a family, and like most importantly, it's like God's people. And obviously, this is not how God's people are supposed to behave.
The church says it's investigating and will give Gracie's pastor, Ebo Duggan, the opportunity of first response. It says Duggan, who's one of SPAC Nation's trustees, handed in his resignation to the board 2 weeks ago. SPAC Nation denies that either the church or Tobi Adegboyega are financially exploiting young people. It says it has a robust complaints procedure and a well-run disciplinary system. It can't be responsible for what its hundreds of members do, some of whom are ex-offenders. The church has big ambitions. It says it has 2,000 young members and is expanding into universities outside London.
So, hostels and uni accommodation be targeted 110% everywhere there is young people.
In October this year, Tobi Adegboyega attended Boris Johnson's speech at the Tory party conference.
SPAC Nation has this vision of being a mega church. And I think that has always been the end goal, and to affiliate themselves with powerful people in the world. And I can't deny that they're successfully doing that at the moment.
Former worshippers say their greatest concern now is for those who are still with the church.
I feel betrayed, and I feel anger, because not only are they doing it to more people, they're doing it to the most vulnerable people.
There are people who I believe are there and that are genuinely there for Christ and for their journey with God. But I can't stress that there is more bad than good.
SPAC has to be shut down. Tobi, he has to be held accountable for everything that has gone on. Certain leaders, they shouldn't be around youth. They shouldn't be around anywhere where people are vulnerable.
The Charity Commission says it's launched a statutory inquiry into SPAC Nation and ordered it to bank its money. The Metropolitan Police says it's reviewing allegations of possible fraud and other offences. It will then decide whether to investigate further. In places where the church is most active, there's concern the authorities are taking too long to act.
I strongly believe that, it's because it's black kids. But because it's black kids, it's almost seen as that's you lot's problem. The sad thing is a lot of these young people, they are looking for something better. That is why they went to SPAC Nation.
Young worshippers like Novice trusted the church to help them. Instead, they've been left burdened with huge debt. It will take them years to pay off.
Ben's worried what Phil's next move might be in EastEnders on BBC One next.
Now, you see that's BBC. It's not just picking up some things from somewhere. Hi, good afternoon. How is everyone doing? It's been a while, innit? I've been well and alive, and I've been just,
And then afterwards, I interviewed
Oh,
about 3 of
it
the
is-
cast
what did
members.
she say,
It was
Joe?
quite a good conversation, quite interesting. But I noticed for each of the interviews,
Hold up, Master said yeah. I've been well and alive. How are you doing? For a couple of days now, of course, you must have seen in updates and news and report this, I don't know the right adjective to qualify this guy. Surprisingly, I never heard of Tobi Adegboyega before now, until maybe a couple of months back, which I detailed a little bit to read about him. I watched a couple of videos. But again, me go for whatever reason we can lock up. But afterward, I look at the whole scenario then. You understand? I wasn't really interested in following up the story. I said a couple of things. But more lock up, because personally I am not really into deterring people or coming after people like that. I am sorry, I said 8 p.m. I'm not going to stay long. I'll be out of here in the next couple of minutes. I will have to come back. I said 8 p.m., but I scheduled an appointment that is very important that I need to go and catch up with. But because I've given my words, that's why I came out. The enemy had to be an episode. Like everything, you will see me, if not every day, every other day. I have too much to show the world, because you see, my concern is tell me about more. Definitely 90% of people do not know him, and I've seen some people's reaction and saying, hey, okay, if he's guilty, why is this UK government not apprehending him? You have to be shallow-minded to feel that way, first of all, because which I will explain. With respect to anyone, you think British government just feel like this one, they will just go, nobody on his ass. That's romantic enforcement here. They will get all their facts. It's just like America. They will be looking at you. Your mother not in there, for me. Your mother not in there. Your mother not in there. Yes, me and water. People say that a lot. I drink a lot of water. It's good for you. It's good for you so that it will help you. Water has so many benefits. Be drinking water. And tí o bá ní tí o léèyàn tó yẹ bọ́ lọ́run nìkan ló ń gbẹ́kẹ̀lé tó gbọ́dọ̀ wọ́n wọ́n máa tọ́jú ara rẹ̀. You know what I mean? So they will be looking at you like you are getting away with it. That's so it be. She understand? Until Joti Balamba Obama Segi. She understand? With this guy, I am just worried enough to feel like if I don't know him, so many people don't know him. Oh, so Maureen has blocked the guy before. So customer Maureen. See, let me talk a little bit about Maureen by the job. Because somebody sent me a message recently and said, oh, sure you see now, you are now seeing the lights. When Maureen was saying all these pastors are fake and all that shit. I have never criticized Maureen for plotting out a fact that is sin. I have never. Not one time. You think it's every time Maureen talk about one pastor that I come out to say something contrary? No. It's then I feel like the problem that I have with Maureen is the volume of hatred and bigotry that comes after the way she blog. You understand? It's different. So that's what blogger does. That's in her space, in her right to do. But you see, the hatred and the impunity that she always had to eat is appalling. Plus, going by her own history, everybody will come for pastor this morning. No, now you walk on for Gio. That has been my own concern. I've never stopped that from. I don't even, you know how many pastors that I've seen her come for. She's coming for Suleiman. I did not say anything because I wasn't sure about Suleiman. I don't know anything about him, and the way I'm looking at him from far, me was sure. I did not know. Me, my customer, Maureen. This guy is a crook. He's a complete crook. This is a criminal. Now let me go back. So thanks for joining me. You guys are gonna be joining almost every day or every day. You know I've not been coming out, but you see, I spent the last 4 days, day and night, reading, studying, doing my research about this Tobi Adegboyega. Why or how did I get on it? You all must have seen the video where this dude literally harassed the choir member. Hear me very well. I don't believe anybody cannot mess up. I don't believe anybody cannot. I've done something, even in this whole social media space, that I wasn't feeling good about later. I've done some things that I later realized that not good enough. At the same time, I've done some things that I am pretty proud of myself about what I did. It's not, I don't have anything, no guilty conscience about it. But I begin to sense the reaction. Now, 9 out of 10 times, I was misinterpreted. They did not even understand the detail or the context of what I'm saying, or people being extra sensitive. You know, Mobola, being extra sensitive about whatever I said or whatever I reacted to. They don't understand the intent. And even with the fact that I'm convinced about what I'm saying or what I did, I still try as much as possible to reconcile, to amend those things. Not because I'm afraid of anything, not because I felt like what I did was wrong, but because, see, even if you are right, if your decision or your action or your position or your disposition makes another person uncomfortable, are you with me? And you realize that it becomes a larger perspective, makes would you leave me alone? You know, even if your position, your actions, even it don't matter whether you're convinced or you're justified about it in your heart. If you feel like it makes or is generally misinterpreted or is generally, criticized or generally, makes somebody else feel uncomfortable, it's just an instinct. There's something in leadership. You cannot just be of your own intents alone at all the time. At all. So a couple of times I have to redeem things, have conversation, cement certain misconception. Not because I even feel like it was wrong. I've done something that I feel like it was wrong and I have to make amends. I have to apologize. I apologize to people that I don't even need to apologize to. Or else some people will do. But you see, you have to be at peace at all time. In leadership, you can't be insensitive and be a good leader. You have to consider how your action make the people that you are with feel. If you are going to be negligible and nonchalant and just say what you want, how you want, do what you want, you are not fit to be a leader, not to talk of a pastor. So this guy got into the news recently. I don't know him from nowhere. I don't care about him like that. I've never heard of him, and I'm being serious. So he got into the news recently. You must have seen this video. Oh, let me give you some volume. This was where we started from.
Okay, when you are ready, thank you guys. Be seated, please. Livingston is amazing, but that song was boring me to death, so I had to come up, man. That's long. So, but thanks, guys. We'll come back. We'll sing together in a minute. Just was sleeping off.
And this is a statement of saying the choir administration was boring him to death. Attracts a lot of criticism, which I was part of it. Why? To whom were they singing to? You or God? 10 of us might be in church listening to the same sermon. And you might be disconnected. And that same word, that same sermon, is touching the very essence of somebody else's life. Somebody might not feel it, and that is the best day. That is the day of encounter with God, with somebody else. So it is selfish, it is insensitive, it is stupidity of the highest order, it is recklessness as a leader, and it's arrogance as a person for you to just squash them off stage like that. And so it was grossly criticized. And clearly, so many reactions came about it. Yes, he was wearing a short knicker, yes. And of course, we begin to see that definitely this man can definitely not enjoy gospel music. He can't enjoy the gospel music. He's not used to it. It has nothing to do with the gospel. It has nothing to do with the gospel. I will not go into details today, but tomorrow, I'm coming, I will have more time. And I will show you where he's coming from. You will not understand the details of these things if you don't understand the root of this guy. I've traced him all the way to Osu, where he schooled. Traced him all the way to Ibadan, where he was born, grew up from. You will see his background. How did they move from this? And what are his background? What is his upbringing? And then when he started ministry, where did he start the ministry from? From who? Who are his mentors? So we were like, well, this guy. Those are songs that he's used to. Those are songs that he's used to. Now, all of this did not bother me. It did not bother me at all. We've seen so many of it. Those are his associates. Those are people he roll with. How can he ever enjoy gospel song? How? Who? I will get to it. I saw your message now. I will get to it after now. I'm not sure what it is, but I will get to it. And so, how are you doing? Now, it didn't bother me until when I saw this. Where is that video? So after the whole criticism about, why will you see sometimes everybody need flash. That's times where you just run out of your emotions and do what you are not supposed to do. Sure, you understand? Nobody is the monopoly of knowledge. Nobody is a monopoly of knowledge. So to bad fuck up, to bad mess up, like, and you see, especially when it comes to social media bashing, nobody is above bashing. No. Nobody is above bashing. And then, surprisingly, this is where it just drew the line for me. I saw this video.
Hi guys, I was told there's a conversation going up online. People are dragging their predecessors. I'm just joking. Now, draggers and draggists. I thought they said there's no employment in Nigeria. Well, there's employment. You guys are fully employed. Drag people here. It's not important. Anyways, let me address the issue now. It shows that you guys want leadership, right? You want people responsible, accountable. So let me be accountable. The song was boring.
He repeated it.
Okay? It was actually very boring. The singer's lead song boring. I don't need nobody to speak for me in Nigeria or defend me. Fact is fact. Take it how you take it. Now, guys, the draggists and draggers, go take your medicine, okay? Now, for progressive thinkers, good Nigerians, which many of them as followers, there is hope. There's leadership and everything will be great. Others, take it how you take it, guys. Yeah.
BB Touch said, I disagree. Even Jesus came from. No. Jesus came for the lost. Show me one place in the Bible that Jesus was hanging out with the lost. When you want to quote, make your references, be very sure you know what you are saying. Jesus came for the lost. It wasn't, you are to love them, you are not part of them. The Bible says you are in this world, but you are not of the world. Christian, a believer should be a mirror that the world see. Christ-like, they should see Christ in you. What are you telling me? The fact that Jesus came for this, did you ever see him one time? Show me in the Bible where he was dining and whining. Now, and then show me one time you have seen any media file online with Tobi and one religious leader and one Christ-like mind. Show me, send it to me if you have it. I'll give you $100 for it. Send me one video that you see Tobi Adegboyega with any Christ-like leader anywhere in the world. I challenge you. And I will show you more than 10 files. People should stop misquoting scripture. This is what the choir is singing now. Wait for it. That's the video. Just to mention a few. That is what he has reduced the choir to. So when they are singing worship songs, laying holy hands in surrenderness to God, it will bore him to death. It will bore him to death. It will bore him to death. You see, the choir already singing Stand Strong. I need to go. So he came out and he repeatedly said, the song is boring. He never saw anything wrong. Now, he listened to me. Let us agree with him that the song was boring. So as a leader, you did not consider the emotions of these people who has given their time, their talent, their expertise into rehearsing this song and presenting it in church. Did he bother about how it makes them feel? Because it's boring to you? Is it boring to the whole church? Do you know whether God is just ministering to somebody or that song is just making a significant importance in somebody else's life in the congregation? But because he's daft, because his arrogance is on the rooftop, and when you see somebody who is on this path, he is somebody who is navigating slowly, who is closely heading towards perdition. Oh yeah, you can be a pastor and hang out with the word. So I want you to show me this next. I want to show you the last video because I gotta go. Today is just an intro because I'm digging deep. Show me what part of godliness is this.
It's just for their kids to do when I get out of the fucking country. We all were fucking passionate when one man died in America. One. No justice. Nobody will speak for him. Not his fucking church. Not his fucking pastor. Nobody's gonna speak for him because he's poor. Okay? I accept all your oppression. I accept all your fucking stuff that you do to me from all your organizations. I accept everything. But let me live in peace. But there's a generation that failed us. And because of their failure, we protest. Because of the failure of that generation. So we're not going to allow the British government to keep fucking silence.
Jesus.
Let the British government know that we're not just good for slavery. These fucking retards. Obama is not talking. He can't talk. He's a retard. He's a fucking retard. Yeah, the rat-infested building in that place should. Anyway, let me not say it should be punched down, but it should be. It's Awusas there. Awusas in London. Nigerian embassy in London is filled with Awusas. They're part of the problem. They didn't stand up in their generation. They told us to be fucking praying, guys. We're praying. They're still praying in Nigeria.
No, I'm coming back on this. We are going to continue for
I'm tired of everything Christianity. I'm just tired. I'm tired. That's what my dad taught me all the way. We saw police take bribes. He said God will solve it. God didn't do jack. But when nobody calling me, telling me about how God would do anything, I don't want to hear it no more. I heard it as a child.
God did not do anything.
And God did not do nothing. And I've had celebrities, I've said it, I've reached out, AJ has reached out, talking, asked for me to call and all that. But look, it's the movement of the people. Like, yeah, anyway, I love it.
Give me the justification for this. Give me the justification for this. Give me the justification for this. That the priest is trying so hard to defend it because you know he's the priest is his media consultant. So hard to defend him. He did his show where Pastor Adegboyega Tobi Adegboyega said God didn't do jack, and he was defending the statement when he said God didn't do jack. But it is the people who rose up who develop the show. Who is he that can do a thing if God has not needed it? But since this guy doesn't even know scripture, he doesn't even know. Go and study him. Go and look at his videos. Let me play that last video for you, and you can see his countenance. You can see his eyes. He's high as hell. is high as hell. But you see, like I said, I'm laying a foundation. I don't want to be emotional about it. I'm a chief, Sean. I will, tomorrow I'm coming. And we're going to start a whole chronicles of Tobi Adegboyega and how he has destroyed lives. How he's taking 16 years old children, nurture them, and one of the ones that 18, use them to collect loan, use them to register businesses. We'll go to corporate commissions of the UK, what they call that, company house, or whatever they call it in UK. You will see how many business that is associated with this guy, how they are moving funds from one account to the other, how he's doing cryptocurrency fraud. We'll look at it. But this guy said God has not done anything for him. We will look at those things. What life did he live in Osu? Who are his associates? How did he get to the United Kingdom? Where did he start from? He got to the United Kingdom in 2005. Started this church in 2002. Started this church in 2005. We will get there. Ladies and gentlemen, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. I have a very quick impromptu appointment to catch up with. So I will see you by 12 o'clock tomorrow. That will be 7:65. That's about 5-6 o'clock UK and Nigerian time. So we can have a full dose. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your night. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow.